no SAT strategy today. We're just going to get right into the lesson. Today we're going to look at the first of two lessons, which will introduce you to compound inequalities. If you remember anything about compound sentences, it's whenever you take two sentences and put them together. Same thing with compound inequalities. Compound inequalities are inequalities that have two solutions, and pretty much it's two questions put together in one problem. This lesson is going to focus on the type of compound inequalities that combine the two problems into one. So look at the following examples real fast, because I think that you're ready to go without too much introduction. You're going to solve and graph each problem, and you're going to notice that we have 6 is less than or equal to x plus 3, which is less than 10. The goal is still the same. We still want the variable all by itself, and so we look at this and we say to ourselves, x has to be by itself if you get rid of 3, and we will still get rid of 3 the same way, which means that we will subtract 3 to get rid of it. But here's the problem. There are 3 sections. There is a middle section, there is a right section, and also a left section. So whereas before we would do the left and right side, this time we have to do left, right, and middle. And so whatever you do to one, you have to do to all the sides. So if I subtract 3 here, I must also subtract 3 here and subtract 3 there, which brings down 3 is less than or equal to x. Sign again does not change, is less than 7. And so that is what you are looking at there. Again, decision to get the variable alone is still the same. In order to get rid of a positive 3, I subtract it, but I just have to subtract it 3 times. And then when you go to graph it, same thing. This number here on the left, this number here on the right. The only difference is there's 2 important numbers. You just now have to say to yourself that 3, because this is your sign, has a closed circle. That 7, because it's attached with that, has an open circle. And that since x is in the middle, that you shade everything in between. That is all. Again, decide to move one way. Move everything by doing the same thing to all 3 sides, and then whatever answer you get, you bring that number down, and because x is in the middle, put that there in the middle. Looking at B, same thing. I want to get x by itself. X is being multiplied by 3, so we divide by 3. The only difference is I have to divide by 3 everywhere. Now we turn that into a -5 less than x less than or equal to 7. Because x is by itself, that part's done. Now I have 2 key numbers, -5 being the first one, 7 being the second one. This gets a open circle, this gets a closed circle. And again, if x is in the middle, then you're looking at everything in between those two. Alright? And then even when the problems get a little bigger, you still are ready for this. Here, 2x plus 1, the first thing we would always do is subtract the 1. The only difference is now we do it 3 times. That brings down 4 is less than or equal to 2x, which is less than or equal to 10. From there, we divide all things by 2. Getting 2 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to 5. So again, the steps really aren't that major. Your solving is still there. The skills that we've learned all the way through this point are still important skills, and they're still strong enough to get you where you need to be. So 2 is a closed circle. 5 is also a closed circle. And then you want everything in the middle. So the key thing here is that you just have to keep in mind that the problem is separated into 3 parts. That will help you remember that you must repeat the same action 3 times instead of 2. So as long as you understand that, you should be okay. Let's look at a few more problems. There are a couple more problems together before looking at how compound inequalities are applied today. Solve and graph again. 2 more problems real fast. 4 is less than or equal to 3x minus 2, which is less than 16. Again, first thing we do here is we know we need to get rid of the 2 by adding 2, but we add it 3 times. You get 6, 3x, and 18. From there we get rid of the 3, same way as usual, by dividing. 2 comes down, x, and 6. Because 2 has the line under it, that's closed because 6 does not have the line under it. It's open, and we want everything in between 2 and 6. And then the very last one, 5 is less than x divided by 3 plus 10, which is less than or equal to 12. Again, first thing we want to do is move this 10, so we subtract this 10. 5 minus 10, well, be careful here. 5 minus 10 would be negative 5, less than x over 3, less than or equal to 2. And then if you remember, the way we get rid of the number on the bottom is by multiplying. The difference is, again, we just have to multiply everything there. This now becomes negative 15 less than x less than or equal to 6. From there, put down your key numbers. 15 is an open circle, 6 is a closed circle, and you shade everything in the middle. So that really covers the majority of what you need to know. But there is one more type of problem that applies. This type, it discusses a range of values that are acceptable. Our job is to write an inequality that represents the range. So look at a couple questions with me now just to make sure you understand what's going on, because again, these are also questions you're going to see on your Math Excel in order to get your 100%. It just says the number of acceptable people on a ride is 60. The fare allows people to be, or the number to be exceeded by 5 or under by the amount of 10. Write a compound inequality representing the number of people allowed to ride. The first thing you have to understand is that the key number is 60. And so they'll say that 60 is how many people have to be on the ride. But of course, you won't always just have 60, and you know this whenever you go to that. So what the fare says is that you can exceed, which means go over by 5, or you can be under by 10. And so what you do is you look at 60 plus 5 gives me a number of 65, because that would be exceeding by 5. You can be under by 10, so you would look at 60 minus 10, which is of course 50. And so that is your range. The thing about these things is that you always want to start with the low number first. And because 50 is okay, we use the line. So 50 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to your high number, which is 65. And that is how you do your range. Alright, so again, 50 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 65. That is all you have to do. Based off of this number, 65 is 5 higher than 60, which is right. This is 10 lower than 60, which is also right. And then the last question on this, again, same type of question. Speed limit on a highway is 70 miles per hour. Police officer allows you to exceed by 7 or drive under by 15 without writing a ticket. The acceptable speeds, again, 70 is the key speed there because that's the actual speed limit. But again, they allow you to exceed it by 7, so you're talking about adding 7 to that, which means the highest you can drive is 77 miles per hour. Or you can drive under by 15, so you'll do 70 minus 15, which is 55, I believe. And so when you go to write this, you put low number first, the less than or equal to symbol, because 55 is okay, x, which is less than or equal to 77. So go ahead and go to Math Excel, get your 100%, and then pick up the video or the second worksheet for today. Today is not a review day on the worksheet, but it does kind of give you some more practice on this and the other things that we can do to get ready for this test. Good luck.